Hey, let's bring in Kevin O'Leary to talk about this. Kevin, you say under Donald Trump, crypto is out of its cowboy era, no more wild, wild west. But the question is it the time to buy in for investors who have been crypto skeptical up to now?
You know, I look at this as a very important signal to move policy away from just litigation, which is what was going on in crypto. So actually some rules, some guidelines. And the first, there's a lot of excitement, and maybe people are saying, well, it's just hype, but it's not, because there is a bill called the Genius Act. It used to be called, when it was first proposed over 4 years ago, the Stablecoin Act. They merged those together. That's Gillibrand with Haggerty. And this has bipartisan support. And so when Trump talks about legislation, the first pillar of legislation is going to be the Stablecoin Act, which I anticipate he will sign within the next couple of months. I'm optimistic. And that's not about Bitcoin. That's about digital payment systems. So that if you had a wallet like on Robinhood or WonderFi or Coinbase, you could just wire money to people for a fraction of the cost you pay for a bank right now, which would be great. Then the other legislation they'll be discussing today, which is also important, is the market infrastructure. In other words, is Ethereum a commodity or is it a security? Let's finally make a decision on these tokens and move forward with policy. So you may not like the circus around this, if you want to call it that, but for those of us who've been waiting for this advancement of the technology, which I think will affect all 11 sectors of the economy, this is really important to get some bipartisan activity around that Gillibrand and Haggerty are doing. And remember, and I really believe this, within the next few years, crypto will be the 12th sector of the economy. There's just too much productivity locked in there once we get the rules in place. And so if you want to be an investor, maybe think picks and shovels first. Buy the exchanges. I own a position in Coinbase, in Robinhood, and in WonderFi. That's where the activity is going to start if you don't like the volatility of Bitcoin.
Let me get to this one, Kevin. An advisor at the Treasury Department has uncovered large-scale problems facing the IRS. Listen to this. I'll get your comment.
What was the biggest surprise that you found at that Department of Treasury?
I would say it's the disconnect between leadership and the people actually doing the work. It doesn't take a lot, just somebody who cares to solve these problems. You find contracts that are 10, 20, 30, 50 million dollars, and you just ask, like, why are we doing this? And everyone's just like, I don't know. And then you cancel it, and then nothing happens. It's just inertia has just taken over.
It's only money. By the way, Kevin, he said the IRS is not only 30 years behind, but it's $15 million over budget. I mean, look, if this was one of your businesses, you'd be furious, right?
You know, it's really hard to criticize the IRS. Nobody likes to do it. So let's just talk about, for obvious reasons. But every agency, many of them, are using software, for example, that was built 30 years ago. It hasn't been upgraded. And the IRS is probably no different. It's part of this whole Dogification, if you want to call it that. I'm sure we could upgrade and make it faster and better.
Right.
And I think, just like every other agency, and I think people would like that because we all deal with the IRS. I'm dealing with them right now as we speak because it's tax time.
Yeah. Well, I have to leave it there, Kevin, on that happy but somewhat sad note that you're dealing with the IRS like we all are. Kevin O'Leary, great stuff, sir. Thank you so much.